Hi. So basically, today we can start our second session. That is basically uh, help us to understand how can we write code in Ruby. So basically, there are a few pointers that I would like to cover in this session. The first pointer would be methods. Basically, how can we write methods, different type of a different type of argument passing, and afterwards how can we basically iterate over a loop or a hash. um, uh, then we will talk about lambda and procs and blocks. So these are the topics that I'm going to cover. Before that, let me share my screen. Okay, I hope it is visible to you. So first I would like to go with the methods. So okay. uh, Okay, let me share my entire screen. Okay. So I will help you. How can you basically write methods? Okay, let's whenever we define a method, then basically first we should use def word. That is basically we are defining a method. Let's say hello. That's the method name. If there any argument, you can pass it this way, but for the time being, let's say there is no argument. Okay, here you just want to uh, print hello, right? So now we here it defines we have a say hello method, and how can we call this method? Simply say hello. So it just printed hello. You can see here, right? And now if let's define or let's do it a little bit differently. Now try to use it argument. Let's say name to whom you want to say hello. Let's say okay. uh, Here you can use the interpolation. The thing I have done is this particular thing is interpolation. So interpolation is a way we can basically able to uh, fetch the value of variable, that is called string interpolation. And let's say hello. Now it says you should have an argument. Okay, now let's say if you pass it like your name, Kamal Mehra, right? So now it says hello Kamal Mehra. So this is what we have printed. Okay, so this is a very simple way how we can define methods. Basically there's a definition, plus here there could be uh, arguments, uh, and here we have the statement, and last statement is by default the return statement. What if let's say you want to do multiplication, right? For multiplication you would be needing two numbers, num and let's say num2, right? And what you did is just simply multiply it. So I'm just trying to help you to understand how the return statement works. Although you like in C++, we always return, right? Here, uh, we can use return only if we are uh, returning from the middle of the uh, middle of the method definition. Let's say if I don't want to return, let's say if I want to return a middle statement, then I obviously have to use return. And by default in Rails, last statement, it automatically returns, unlike in other languages. So let's say if I want to store value, right? So what do you want to multiply? Let's say 9 comma 2. Okay, here we got an error because there is some issue here. It should be num2, right? Now it has given me a value. So there we didn't return that statement, but Rails what it does automatically returns the last statement. Therefore, we in value we get it. Okay. So now here there are different way we can pass the argument. So here the example I have given this one. Here is a uh, required arguments, as in these argument is must to have. Let's say if you are calling this multiplication method and if you don't pass this argument, obviously it will be throwing an error. For example, like this, strong number of arguments given when expected to, right? So this is required one. Option one is, let's say you define on default value to this as 3. Okay, now if you did this, it will work because it has already taken the default value of num2 as 3. That's why it has given 27. And what if you pass 2? It will also work, 18, right? Nice. Yeah. Then there is a variable, okay, and then there is keyword. So okay, I will try to help you through this document. So they have defined a method, hi, method argument, required argument. Okay, we have already covered the required argument. Keyword argument is something like this. Now here let's say uh, value as num and value 2 as num1. Now you have defined a keyword along with it. So therefore you have to also change the now you have doing this. And now what if let's you do the simple one this way, 9 and 2. Do you think it will work? No, it won't, because we have already defined a keyword. So you have to explicitly use those key, as in what key you want to pass. And here the order won't be a issue. Let's say if you have defined value 1, value 2 first, and then value 1, it won't be an issue, right? So this is why we use multiplication. Let's say if we have used multiple arguments, and we can first thing is basically we know what value we are sending. Okay, we are sending value here. We know that when we are calling this particular method, we are sending value and value 2, right? So first thing, while we are calling a method, we are aware of what attribute we are sending in arguments. And second thing is it can be of any order. Let's say if I would have done this, it would have given me it wouldn't have given me any issue, unlike other options. Okay, now what? Keyword in variable. Okay, in variable, it will just basically you can call a method using using multiple arguments, and when we use variable argument, it will basically club all the elements into an array, and then you can perform it as an array. I will give you an example. Like you want to do a sum, right? The uh, let's say sum is mm, okay, and now for the time being, let's put what we get. Now I already told you that it will basically uh, give args would be an array of all the elements that we are going to pass in arguments. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, still you don't get it whether it's an array or not. So for simplicity plus thing, I would do this and now call this. It's an array, right? When you know it's an array, a lot of thing you can do is basically you can use or inbuilt method sum, right? And now you call this. It gives an array of 15. Now what you have a little question. Now we have what we are doing 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems like sum of first uh, sum of uh, nth number where the n is 5. So basically give me the sum from first to the n, right? So we have a formula. Can you help me with the formula? So let's try what would be the other way if we don't want to get into the array. So basically if you see this, so simple time complexity, what I can see from here is basically it is looping over an array and picking up element and adding one by one element uh, into a variable. So basically the time complexity, what I can see from here is often what if I let's convert it to of one. So let's see if we are able to do it. So before that, just generate a formula before that. What if we do that for n, basically n into n minus 1, that is basically 4 divided by 2. Okay, do you think it will give a formula? Oops, it's n plus 1, I guess. Yeah, n plus 1. Now we know the formula is n is 5 n into n plus 1, okay, divided by 2 gives 15, right? Now the same thing we can put here. Dot length into args dot length plus 1 divided by 2. Now call sum 5. It gave me a 1. Really? Okay, let's debug it. Args length, that is 6, 6 divided by 2, that is 3, 3 into 5, that is 15. It should be 15, right? Sorry, my bad. My bad. We have to pass the arguments, not the. And considering that it would be in sequential 1 to n, right? Only then it will give the correct answer. For 6, it would be something like this, right? Okay. Okay. Cool. So this is of 1. This is since we are where it was since not sure where it went. We do something like this, right? So I hope they would have handled the same way. No, I guess it would be often if because they must have considered it would the numbers that we are getting won't be in sequential order. So yeah, it would be often, but yeah, if it's in sequential order, we can do it that way. That gave us often. Yes. Okay. So yeah, here we have covered the type of argument passing. Is just key depending upon your requirement, or depending upon how much important the variable is, we can use keyword, or if not required, we can use required one. So but required one doesn't give us that much clarity when we are calling a particular method, that what value we're passing. We are just simply passing in a but order that has been defined in the function definition, right? So yeah, there are few differences and there are few points when we can basically uh, analyze and use accordingly. Okay, let's jump over to the next topic, that is loop. Loop is something loop is basically looping like we have done for. Just take a reference how we used to do a loop over an array, right? In C++, we use for I equals to 1, I less than n, I plus plus, then iterate. We can basically fetch the element by a. Let's define. We have let's assume we have defined array as ARR. Then ARR of I is basically the element, right? In the same way, Rails also help us to iterate, right, over certain data structures. Uh, okay. So basically, you have defined an array. So we can simply define it that way, right? 1, 2, now 43, 12, right? Now, what if you want to iterate over it? Okay, right? So there are two ways of doing it. Either you can do it that way. If there's a single line statement, then we can use it that way. Single line statement. So this particular thing is called block, right? This is block. And what we are doing is puts num. So basically, it will iterate each of the element, right? And let's say for the first time, it will num will be 1. Second time, num will be 2. For the third time, num will be 43. So it will be that it will be that's like it has put the elements, right? So basically, it has printed the elements, right? Instead of that, we can do it this way as well. It will also work. So both way we can do it. So we use do and if there are multiple statement, we use uh, this when there is only single statement. So right now, what if let's say you ask in C++, we also do get the index. So you have plenty of methods here as well. So each will index. Now each will index itself say you will get the element, right? Plus the index on which index it is. It is currently trying to access the element, right? Okay. Now how would you know? So first, let's say we print index, then we will basically print uh, okay, index and value, right? Uh, String configured integer. Nice, got it. Uh, Two way we can do it. Let's either convert. You have heard of typecasting, right? In which we cast from one data type to other. So we have just tried to typecast it to string to an integer to string, because obviously we have used plus operator, and therefore either two string can concatenate, or if two, if there would be two numbers, that would be also add up. So basically what I've been doing is converting integer into a string so that we can just do it. Or there's another way we can do it. That is basically the interpolation, string interpolation. So right here you have seen 0 पे 1 है, first पे 2 है, second पे there is 43, and third पे there is 12, right? And if we would have if we would have used interpolation, string interpolation, how we would have done. So basically doing this, no need of this, no need of this, no need of this, no need of this. Yeah, it has already, it has given the same output. So yeah, now even we can loop over the hash same way. But here you would say, sir, there are there are two things. One is the key, and second one is basically the value. So we need two parameters. Yes, surely we do. Now it is hash. We can have it this way: key, comma value, right? Now I don't want to use interpolation. I would simply do key, what's value. So it will come. It will print key, then new line, then value. So it will do that way. Key is A. Key is A, value is 1, key is B, value is 10, key is C, value is 15, right? So yeah, so this is basically how we loop, right? So again, there are multiple ways. If you do 10 times hello, so it will basically print the time hello 10 times, right? Like this. So they have used interpolation, what all did, hello 1, hello 0, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3. So it would be that way. Ranging, if you do this way, it will basically range from 1 to 10, including 1 to 10. So there is a simple difference between 2 dot and 3 dots. So I will just give you an example. If you do this, right, it will give you 1 to 10. Okay. To show this, I have to do this each. What it has done, it has gone from, when we use 3 dot, it has gone from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, but it hasn't included the last one. But instead, if we use 2 dots, it will basically include the last one as well. That's a basic difference you will get to know when you will start coding in. So rest other are the same way. We have used while, until, and next. Well, next have the same use case as we have in C++, next, break. These are basically one and the same. So basically I have already given a link. You can go through those and let me know if you have any concern regarding anything. Okay, now I have given you told you how to iterate, right? And when I told you, I already gave a brief how we can use each. But apart from each, there are others too. Whenever you do, let's say what you do is you have pick up from. Okay, I will clear up the mess first. Okay, no problem. Okay. 1 to 10, we have taken the element 1 to 10. Now we are trying to reach. Now what we do is basically n now n into n. What we are doing the square, and when I initially told you it returns the last element, right? But in case of this, when we use each, but the last return the last statement in the case of when we are basically writing a method, right? But this is not a method, that's iterator. So basically it has their own functionality. We use each. Now let's say what's the output is, right? So when you see the output, okay, instead when you see the output is always be like this, and the operation what we are doing is squaring of the number, right? So what if you want the squares, you want the output to be the square of the numbers which you have passes which we have passes in an array. You want to have the square of those elements, right? So how would you do it? Then there comes map. So basically if you have used the map, you will basically change this. Now you change, see the output, it is the square of it. And same goes with collect. So basically map and collect, what it does, it return you the last statement as the elements of the as the elements of the new variable. Basically here we have used output, right? So these squares, these number, the square of each number will be the element in output. So collect and map more over the same, more and less they are the same. And when we do select, and the fourth one we have is basically select. So select is basically for filtering, like we want to have the array of those number which is basically greater than 3, right? So it will be, now the output is 4 and 5. So these are certain differences you get to know when you start working on it, understanding what thing you want, what thing. There are certain others, uh, other methods that we have in Ruby, like let's say if now again if you want to do the sum, right? There is a method called inject. So inject 0. What do you want? Sum. So basically sum, and here will be the number. So sum would be assigned to 0, and number, in number we will have each element of this array. Okay. Now what you want to do is basically have the sum of numbers. So it would be something like this, and let's say where's the output? According to me it should be 15, and output is 15. So yeah, you will have a lot of many methods like reject and others too when you dig deeper into this. Okay. So I have already told you what is block. Block is basically in which we have block is the same thing as method. it does not belongs to an object. Blocks are called closure in the programming language. There are some important points about the block. It can accept the argument, return values, right? So it is as simple as that. If you have worked on C++, right, it has their own scope, right? That is the variable we have defined within the block. It stays in that block, right? So same thing we have here as well. We can call it a, if we have defined a method, we can call it a block. If we define any iterators like each map, that would also be a block. So if it is a one-liner, then we can wrap it up like this. So that's a curly braces. If we have it's a one-liner, we can do it like that. And if it is multi-liner, we can do it like that, as all we told you. Okay, this is basically as simple as a block. Block is something in which we can define closure and do certain processing based on it. Okay. Okay, lambda and proc. So I have already give you understanding how block works. So that would be the block argument. If it is each would have used with index, and block argument would be num and the index. And this is a block body. So lambda is nothing but it's a way we can define a block, and its parameter with some special syntax. So here what we have done is, let's say if we have taken an example of say something, right? This is a lambda. So basically say something is nothing. We have defined a block that will basically whenever it has been called, it will basically print this is lambda, right? So here it is, and even in lambda we can pass the arguments, right? And here when okay, I will get into this later. And when we call this is lambda. So there would be certain more example where we have use the variable instead, like if you have seen this. So basically what we are doing, we are passing our argument, right? So uh, sorry, my bad. So it has given me what it has when basically it has defined a block with this name, and it is expecting our argument x, right? And when we have passed two times and call it, and then it will basically execute this, that will give us 4. And let's say if we don't pass an argument, then it will basically throw an error because it is expecting an argument but we haven't passed. So this is one thing. And let's see if we have defined a proc, right? So proc is also a block. So okay, I will basically give an example. My proc. If you have seen, my proc is its type is proc, class type is proc, and uh, what it doing is it is expecting an argument. So even if we haven't defined any argument, right? Sorry, even if we haven't passed the argument, right? Even though it worked, it didn't throw any error. So it has given me 1. What is it? 73. One, two, four, four. Okay, that is 7. That is 3. So it has second binary. It's weird. Nice. Yeah. Here it has second binary, that is basically 1, 2, and 4. That is 7. 1 and 2 is 3. 7, 3. Not sure how it works, but yeah, it has taken in binary. Nice. So here they have given an example to when we explicitly define a proc, it simply doesn't care about the argument. So even if you call it without argument, that is completely okay. It doesn't throw an error like lambda functions, right? So if we have seen how the lambda works, uh, so here if you have seen, even though we have defined the lambda, it is base class is proc, and it's so lambda is a special type uh, in proc itself, where it has certain attributes like for lambda function, if you pass argument, we must pass the argument must, and there are certain more differences. Uh, you will get to know when you start working on it. So yeah, so this is it. Let me know if you have any further questions regarding that.